The day he declared to the world he was going to marry his senior sister Ivy, I got distracted while brewing her medicine and was just a little late. It triggered her heart issue, nearly ruining the wedding. As punishment, he had me taken to a remote mountain he owned. I suffered there until I died, my soul now wandering this world. 5 years later, Ivy's heart issue came back. The royal physician said only my heart's blood could help ease it. So he finally remembered me, but just to bleed me for Ivy's sake. But our 5-year-old daughter told him I've been dead all this time. He laughed coldly. No wonder she's hiding, ran off with some man and popped out a bastard, didn't she? Come out now, Diana, or I'll bleed this little brat in your place. Ivy's sickness flared up again, and he finally remembered me, the wife he left behind. He stepped down from his lavish carriage, eyes scanning the barren hills and the kneeling crowd of peasants, all pure disdain in his gaze. Where's Diana? Tell her to show herself. If she agrees to keep giving blood for Ivy, I'll take her back. Silence. The villagers looked uneasy, none daring to speak. He was getting impatient, when finally, an old woman stepped out from the crowd. Who are you? Where's Diana? Bowed and trembling, the old woman replied softly, Your Grace, Diana, she's... His face darkened with anger. What now? Still hasn't learned after 5 years? I came here personally, and she dares play hard to get? Does she think she's still the young lady of the Medicine King Valley? That place is long gone. Tell her to get real and come out already. The old woman lowered her head further, her voice heavy. Your Grace, she's not coming. She can't. He twisted the jade ring on his finger, trying to hold back his temper. Then go tell her. If she's willing to be Ivy's blood donor again, I'll let the past go. But he didn't know. I've been dead for 5 years. Right after I was dumped on that mountain, Ivy's people came. In that dark, cold cave, they tied me up and drained me dry. Then they cut me open. I was 8 months pregnant. They yanked the baby out while I was still alive and tossed us both behind the mountain like garbage, left to be torn apart by wild beasts. Maybe it just wasn't the kid's time to die, because Sid Granny happened to come up the mountain and ended up taking her in and raising her. And Ivy? She used my blood to brew her medicine. After that, she didn't have another episode for 5 years. She thought she was cured, until she stopped taking the medicine, and it all came crashing back. Worse than before. The pain nearly drove her mad. That's when Logan finally lowered his pride and came to this mountain looking for me. Faced with his cold, pressing gaze, Sid Granny lowered her eyes and said quietly, My lord, Diana passed away 5 years ago. Logan's eyes twitched. And next second, he shouted, voice sharp as a whip, You filthy commoner! Don't dare lie to me! How could she be dead? She's the daughter of the Medicine King Valley Master. A body like hers wouldn't die that easily. She could live past 100 without a problem. Sid Granny dropped to her knees, silent. Logan swept his eyes around and barked, Search! Tear this whole mountain apart if you have to. Just find her. If she thinks she can fool me, I'll make her regret it. His guards went door to door, even checked down the old dry well that hadn't seen water in years. Still, nothing. Logan's face turned several shades darker. He motioned to the guards and had the elderly Sid Granny dragged over. Diana used to do everything I said. She wouldn't come up with a scheme like this. It's you people, you peasants, hiding her from me. I'll say it one more time. Bring her out. If not, don't blame me for what happens next. He lost all patience. He tossed Sid Granny to the ground and crushed her fingers under his boot. Ice-cold punishment. I hovered helplessly in the air, my spirit passing right through the guards over and over, not a single one reacting. And then, from behind them, a little girl, no more than 5, squeezed through the crowd. Her clothes were thin and torn as she threw her arms wide in front of Sid Granny, defiant and steady as a rock. "You can't hurt Granny, Sid. My mother died 5 years ago. Even if you kill Granny, she won't come back." For a second, Logan leapt as if he'd been struck, his pupils shaking so hard he nearly lost control. "Wait, what did you just call her?" His face froze, and step by step, he walked up to the girl. "Say it again. Who did you just call your mother?" The next second, Logan suddenly grabbed the little girl by the throat. "No wonder you've been hiding all this time. So you found yourself some man out there and had a bastard behind my back." Watching the girl's face turn red, I reached out desperately to pull Logan's hand away, but my soul just passed right through him again. I couldn't protect Grandma Sid, and I couldn't save my daughter either. All my screaming was swallowed up by the wind. No one could hear a thing. Grandma Sid couldn't bear it any longer. She broke free from the guards and rushed forward, grabbing Logan's arm. "Your Highness, please let her go. She's not some bastard. She's yours." Before she could finish, a guard came charging in and punched her straight in the face. Logan finally let go, twisting his jade ring furiously as he spoke. "Diana, I'm giving you 3 days. If you're still hiding after that, I'll burn this place to the ground. Then I'll drain every drop of blood from this little brat to cure Ivy." With that, Logan turned and walked off. I spun around in panic, completely helpless. 3 days later, Logan came back, right on time. This time, bringing Ivy along. She looked pale and fragile, lips pressed tight together, brows drawn slightly as if in pain. That delicate, sickly look made people naturally feel sorry for her. Logan gently wiped the sweat off her forehead, brought on by another heart spell. Watching them, my stomach twisted bitterly. Logan only showed this soft side when he was with Ivy. Out in the mountains, their welcoming party consisted of just Grandma Sid, my daughter, and my invisible self. Logan's face was grim. Ivy's suffering, and Diana still has the heart to hide away. She really is cruel and cold-blooded. Didn't the Medicine Valley always believe that all lives are equal, and that saving one life is worth more than building 1,000 temples? She's the only heir to that legacy. Is she trying to throw the family teachings away? As if he'd completely forgotten that Ivy was also a disciple of the same valley. I'll say it one last time, hand Diana over. If she agrees to save Ivy, I won't hold the past against her. She can come back to the palace and still be my princess. Logan honestly believed he was being generous. But Grandma Sid just shook her head. "Your Highness," she said, her voice cracking. "Diana died 5 years ago, not long after coming to the mountain. She was captured and tortured. They dumped her body behind the ridge and left it for the wild beasts. I buried her myself. If you don't believe me, go look for yourself." Then she placed her hand gently on the child's head, her face etched with sorrow. She gave her life protecting this little one. When I found her, this child was the only thing left covered in blood. There was no one else around. Logan inhaled sharply, then gave a chilling laugh. "Oh, really? So this is the lie you've cooked up now?" "You think I'd believe anyone dared touch her without my order? She ran away and cheated on me, and now she can't face me." He didn't even notice Ivy standing beside him, a flicker of vicious delight flashing in her eyes. He had no clue. It was Ivy who ordered people to drain my blood and cut my baby right out of me. Nor did he know that she'd believed those ridiculous rumors, thinking drinking my blood would cure her heart condition. So, she went all in and killed me, thinking she could wipe out any future trouble. Now Ivy's eyes were locked on my daughter, full of cold calculation and spite. "Logan Gege, it hurts so much. Am I dying?" she whimpered, her voice barely above a whisper. Logan gently rubbed her back, eyes full of pity. "Ivy, no matter what, I'll save you, I swear." Ivy leaned weakly against him, her voice faint. "Logan, Junior sister won't come out to help me. She must be mad at me for taking you away from her. I did her wrong. I just hope from now on she'll stay by your side for my sake. Then I'll be at peace." Hearing her sobs, Logan's heart crackled under the weight of guilt and pain. He pulled her into a tight embrace, murmuring, "Don't say that, Ivy. You didn't wrong her. I loved you first. Diana, she was nothing. Don't worry. Since Diana won't offer her blood, we still have her daughter." People from the Medicine Valley, especially women, carry that rare healing constitution. Diana brought this bastard into the world. They'll both pay for her selfishness. Ivy's eyes flickered with satisfaction, though her face stayed soft and sorrowful. "But Logan Gege, if we hurt Junior Sister's child, she'll hate us forever." Logan's eyes darkened to a vicious storm. "She dared betray me and bore someone else's child. I owe her nothing." With a flick of his wrist, he gave the order, and the guards stepped forward, blades at their sides, heading straight for my little girl. Sid Mammy jumped in front of her, arms flung wide, shouting with all her strength, "My lord, don't harm the child! I swear, I'm not lying! She really is your daughter! Look at her face! Please, just look!" Logan froze, his eyes narrowing, almost unsure why his gaze shifted to the child. But he looked, and as he stared, something in him shifted. A flicker of doubt, maybe memory. Watching him falter, my mind drifted back. 6 years ago, I found Logan unconscious at the foot of the mountain during one of my herb gathering trips. I brought him back to Medicine Valley, nursed him until he woke. He stayed there for over a month, saying he owed me his life. The valley was peaceful, wrapped in nature's arms, far away from the world's noise. We shared a beautiful time together. To him, I was precious. He followed me up the mountain daily, helped cook and clean, even bandaged my bruises so carefully, like each spot was breaking his heart. If I ever felt down, he'd act silly, sing operas horribly off-key just to make me smile. Young, naive, nobody had ever treated me like he did. So despite warnings from my father and brothers, I gave him my heart without hesitation. But then, one day, without warning, a letter came from his family. He left me a note, promised he'd return to marry me, and vanished. 3 days later, bandits ravaged our valley. They looted, burned, and slaughtered. That Eden turned to ash overnight. My father and brothers died. Only a handful of us lived, those who happened to be away on medical visits. Then word came that Logan himself led the troops who wiped out those bandits. That was when I realized he was no ordinary man. He was the only non-royal prince of this nation. Logan knelt before the graves of my father and brothers, vowing he'd marry me. With him looking all sincere and devoted, I hesitated, then still chose to return to the palace with him. But he promised marriage, never actually gave me a wedding. In that whole grand palace, no one even knew I existed besides him. He was always busy. The court was pressuring him after he'd secretly sent troops to take down bandits. I felt terrible, thinking I dragged him into it. I tried to be understanding in every way. So when he said his mother was seriously ill and needed my blood as medicine, though I'd never once seen this so-called mother in the palace, I didn't question it. I agreed without blinking. Every 3 days, the palace doctor came by to draw a bowl of blood from near my heart. Years went by. The wound on my chest never healed. Logan only showed up after my blood was taken, and even then, only briefly. Each time, he seemed more distant. The warmth he used to show back when we were in Yawang Valley felt like some dream I made up. I thought maybe I had messed up somehow. Not once did it cross my mind that he'd been lying to me all along. Then a year later, I wandered into his study and came face to face with Ivy, a woman I thought had died at the hands of bandits. She was so startled by my sudden appearance, her heart condition flared up, and she fainted on the spot. That was the first time Logan lost his temper at me. He scolded me for entering his study without permission. I'd never seen him so flustered, so angry. Not even when I was injured. His panic, his rage were all for Ivy. My heart cracked, but I didn't dare ask him anything. I was terrified he'd stop loving me. Even more afraid he'd stop seeing me altogether. I had gotten so used to depending on him that I couldn't let go. So I tried harder, did everything I could to make him happy. I even offered to let Ivy be his equal wife. But he shoved me away and said he'd announce to the world that Ivy would be his main wife, carried in with all the fanfare. She'd be his princess consort. Then what about me? What did that make me? After that, Logan never stepped into my courtyard again. And that's when I found out my blood wasn't for some sick mother, it was for Ivy. At first, I couldn't believe it. It didn't sink in until I overheard the servants talking, saying Ivy and Logan had been childhood sweethearts all along. Turns out I was the intruder in their story. I nearly lost it. But I couldn't bear the thought of Logan leaving me. So I kept quiet. I gave up everything, even used my own blood and skills to make medicine for Ivy, just to stay in his life a little longer. All I ever did was to win just a fleeting glance from Logan, and I played my part well, successfully eased Ivy's heart condition. That night, surprisingly, Logan showed up at my courtyard, drunk out of his mind, muttering that he was happy, then pulled me into his arms. After that night, I found out I was pregnant. Just as I was ready to tell him the news, he banished me to a remote mountain like I was nothing. Up there, I survived thanks to my medical skills. The villagers respected me and gave me space to rest and care for the baby. Little by little, I let go of everything from the palace. I stopped waiting for Logan. All I wanted was to bring my child into the world safely. But before I could, Ivy found me. I died in pain, tortured to death, turned into a wandering soul, stuck between life and death for 5 years without peace. Now, 5 years later, they're using my daughter for the same sick thing. As I stood trapped in thought, Ivy clung to Logan's arm, pretending to care and acting all gentle. Logan Gege, even though that little sister didn't look pregnant when she left. But what if, just what if, that child really is yours? She sounded worried, but her words pushed Logan even further into denial. He looked cold as ice, told the guards to snatch my daughter straight from Granny Sid's arms. My girl's cries cut through the village air, shrill and terrified. Let me go! Let me go! You're a bad man! Wah! Logan didn't flinch. He gave the order flatly. Do it. Take her blood. Guards pinned my daughter down. A doctor moved in with a knife, and just like that, her tiny wrist was cut. Red blood poured from her pale little arm into a cold porcelain bowl. Even as a ghost, my heart broke into pieces. Logan, stop! Please stop, you dastard! She's your daughter! But nothing came of it. Death had already driven a wedge between my voice and the living world. No one could hear the way I screamed. 1 bowl, then 2, then 5. Her blood kept dripping, and her face turned pale as death. I howled, shaking, my soul rushing through them all. But in the end, all I could do was collapse in front of her, helpless. Behind me, the doctor's apprentice had already set up a tent, mixing the fresh blood into medicine for Ivy. The sky darkened, wind howled. And that moment, my daughter looked up. Somehow, she saw me. Mommy, you came to take me home, didn't you? My daughter looked straight at me with this hopeful sparkle in her eyes. I rushed toward her, heart pounding, wanting so badly to hold her close. But again, my hand just passed through thin air. Logan glanced at Ivy, who was smiling blankly at what looked like nothing. He raised his hand and slapped her across the face. What are you grinning at, huh? You think your mother's coming for you? Wake up! That heartless woman left you behind without a second thought. Honestly, if she really cared, how could she let you suffer like this? Seems like she didn't love you all that much after all. But hey, if we're gonna drain your blood, she ought to be there to watch. I'll send someone to drag her back. You both deserve a nice little reunion before you're done." Logan stood up and barked orders to the guards, telling them to widen the search, even to comb the mountains. He was dead set on finding me, to watch with his own eyes as our daughter was bled dry. The sky was beginning to darken. Torches had been lit, and the guards were searching every corner. Within the time it takes for an incense stick to burn, the medicine, now mixed with Ivy's blood, was ready. Logan supported Ivy, almost cradled her, and gently fed her the potion. Not far off, the doctor was pressing both hands on Ivy's wrist, desperate to squeeze out every last drop, because no more blood was flowing. Ivy's pale little face twisted in pain. She curled up, her whole body trembling. "Stop! Stop it, please!" I was shouting over and over, but no one could hear me. I was trapped in silence, helpless, furious beyond words at what Logan was doing. Then, out of nowhere, Grandma Sid bit one of the guards and broke free from their grip. She charged like something wild, crashing hard into the doctor who was draining Ivy's blood. But before she could even turn back to check on Ivy, wham! A thick wooden stick came down hard on the back of her head. "Grandma Sid, watch out!" I tried to warn her, but nothing I said could reach her ears. Thud. The sound was sickening, the blood everywhere. I could only watch, paralyzed, as Grandma Sid collapsed to the ground, her cloudy eyes still wide open, full of defiance and heartbreak. "No, no, Grandma Sid. No, please." Ivy's cries shattered the air. The pain was unbearable. It felt like a heart that had been dead for years was suddenly beating again. My screams echoed through the world, the only sound left in the air. Lying in a pool of blood, Grandma Sid must have heard my cries. With what little strength she had left, she dragged herself toward my daughter. But before she could even touch her, Logan stomped hard on her hand. With a look of disgust, he kicked her aside and sneered. "Blame that heartless Diana. She's the one who abandoned you." Grandma Sid slipped into unconsciousness, never to wake again. My daughter stared up at the man before her, hatred burning in her eyes. With a sudden burst of strength, she lunged at him, shook off the guards, and sank her teeth deep into Logan's finger. He yelped in pain, yanking his hand back. Blood was already dripping. His jaw tightened as he raised his hand to strike, but she collapsed to the ground before he could even react. Fallen still, silent. "You damned brat." Logan spat bitterly. He kicked her motionless body, his face twisted with anger. He didn't notice his bleeding finger dripping into the bowl nearby. Drip. The faint sound made him pause. He looked down, only to see his blood slowly mixing with the blood she had left in the bowl. His eyes widened in shock. They're merging? That can't be right. No way. This blood test thing means nothing. Diana's just trying to mess with my head." Furious, he kicked the bowl aside, breathing heavily, his expression dark. Just then, a guard came running in, shouting, "Your Grace, we found the princess consorts." Logan let out a low, mocking laugh. "Of course, I knew it. Diana's not dead. That brat has nothing to do with me." Ivy stepped closer, concern etched on her face. "Brother Logan, your hand's still bleeding." He flicked the blood off his fingers like it was nothing, then glanced up at the guards. "Where is Diana? Bring her to me, now." The messenger hesitated, his face pale. "Your Grace, what we found was Diana's tombstone." "You found the tombstone?" Logan froze for a breath, then scoffed, his face unreadable. "Wow, really going all out, huh? Even got a fake gravestone made. If there's a tomb, then dig it up. I want to see for myself who's inside that coffin. Lead the way." He followed behind the guards, calm on the surface, stride steady. Ivy tugged at his sleeve, speaking softly. "Logan Gege, this kind of thing, let the guards handle it." "You shouldn't." Logan turned slightly, gave her a glance, and said lightly, "Don't worry, Ivy. Diana didn't die. This is just another one of their tricks." He didn't care to see her reaction and kept walking until he stopped in front of my tomb. He probably didn't even notice just how quickly he was walking. Ivy couldn't even keep up. Gritting her teeth, she glared after him, something dark flickering through her eyes. That damn Diana won't even stay quiet in death. Soon enough, Logan stood at the grave. He stared at the broken wooden plaque, where the words, Diana's grave, were crudely carved. His face stiffened, and the fingers at his side curled tightly into a fist. But his voice stayed even. Dig it up, now. The guards jumped to it, starting to shovel. Out of nowhere, a light drizzle began to fall, misting the mountain air. Ivy stood shivering, her thin figure trembling in the cold wind. Logan never once spared her a glance. I lingered nearby, silently watching them open my coffin. The moment the lid was lifted, everything around seemed to freeze. The torchlight flickered across what remained of me. 5 years buried, yet the body hadn't decayed the way it should have. Damaged, yes, but not decomposed. Logan didn't speak. After a long silence, he crouched down beside the coffin, reaching out slowly, as though to touch my face. But before his fingers could reach, his whole body crumpled forward, almost collapsing into the coffin. Ivy grabbed him just in time, her face tight with worry. Logan Gege, don't! This is bad luck! Stay away! No one saw how pale she went, how shaken her expression truly was. She never expected that after 5 whole years, the body would still be so intact, bearing every trace of what had happened just before death. Too afraid to look down into the coffin, she just kept tugging at Logan's sleeve. But Logan suddenly jerked away, like he'd snapped, flinging her off and shouting, "Get out of my sight!" Catching her completely off guard, Ivy stumbled and fell right into the muddy pit, covered in dirt and completely humiliated. She stared blankly at Logan, eyes wide with shock. What's going on? Logan actually shoved her? Yelled at her? Gritting her teeth, Ivy scrambled back up and rushed toward him again. Logan Gege! Her voice was soft and delicate, trying to coax out any trace of tenderness that might still be hidden in his heart. But Logan's eyes were bloodshot as he glared at her like she was someone he despised. Get out! For the first time, Ivy was truly scared. She had never seen Logan like this. The calm, gentle man she'd always admired, now shaking with rage. All for Diana. That realization hit her like a knife. The pain surged from her chest, tight and stabbing, worse than anything the medicine she just drank could have fixed. But Logan didn't even glance at her. He dropped to his knees by the coffin, staring at the mutilated body that had clearly been ravaged by beasts, torn open beyond recognition. Her face was long gone, but on the bony wrist was a familiar, still intact string of prayer beads. He'd given them to her himself. He'd touched them countless times. There was no mistaking them. She was actually gone. She really had the nerve to lead him like this. Logan's eyes went wide, blood rushing to his head until he coughed up a mouthful on the spot. Your Grace! A guard panicked, calling for the physician immediately. But Logan shoved them all aside, fixated on the body inside the coffin, muttering like a madman. No, I don't buy it. This isn't real. That can't be Diana. Diana loved looking pretty. There's no way she'd end up here. He stumbled forward, practically falling into the half-rotten coffin. Staring at her ruined body up close, he started talking again, almost pleading. You're not Diana. Tell me this is all a lie. Say something, get up and tell me. Diana's just mad at me, that's it. So where did she go, huh? Say something, just talk to me. He shook my lifeless body like a madman, as if yelling would make a corpse talk. When I still didn't respond, he stumbled to his feet and shouted into the empty air. Diana, come out right now. I know you're hiding somewhere, watching your prince lose it. If you've got the guts, just show yourself. The guards, freaked out by his outburst, instinctively stepped back. But he didn't care. Didn't care about them, about appearances, about anything. He just kept screaming my name, like it would bring me back. I stood there quietly, my soul separate from the scene, watching him break down. His voice grated on me. It was loud, pathetic, and honestly, disgusting. That's when I saw a small figure sprinting toward me. "Mama!" I opened my arms wide and caught my daughter, holding her tight, looking at her thin little face. My heart clenched with sorrow so deep it drowned me. "Sweetheart, I'm so sorry. I should have never brought her into this world. I should have never let her suffer as she has." She, wiser than her years, wiped away my tears with tiny hands and said, a little awkwardly, "Don't cry, Mama. We're finally together. We should be happy." After all his yelling and flailing, Logan finally seemed to process it. I was really gone. And then it hit him. The little girl he drained to death was his own daughter. He raced back to the village's edge, finding her body sprawled in the muddy road, soaked by the rain, lifeless. He let out a raw, broken scream to the sky. No one could stop him. He shoved past them all, scooping her cold, limp form into his arms, his hand brushing her chilled cheek. The pain on his face was unbearable. Why, heaven? Why would you punish me like this? Beside me, my daughter tugged on my hand, watching Logan sob. Then she let out a bitter laugh. "Your Grace, Granny Sid's still breathing." "Where's the physician? Bring the doctor now!" Logan barked, frantic. The village healer could only stabilize Granny Sid for now. His equipment was limited, and she needed more than he could offer. Logan swiftly ordered she be brought to the palace for real treatment. My daughter and I drifted along beside them, getting into the carriage too. Once back at the palace, Logan lit up every connection he had, even offered a massive gold reward just to dig up what happened to me after I disappeared from the palace. He called in the imperial coroner, the best there was. He needed answers. What exactly had they done to me before I died? He swore he'd hunt down whoever had done this. After a brutal day and night of examining my remains, the coroner finally gave his conclusion. "Your Grace, this woman died from extreme blood loss." But the bleeding started before she was attacked by those beasts. Someone drained her dry, and she was cut open. They tore the child from her womb while she was still alive. Such brutality I've never even heard of. Logan's eyes turned cold, stone cold. Leaving the autopsy room, he went straight to Ivy. Through the open window, he saw her sitting calmly, focused on her embroidery. Rage boiled beneath his skin. When Ivy noticed him, she lit up and walked over, beaming. "Logan, you're finally done with work?" She reached out naturally to take his hand, pulling him inside with a smile. "You came just in time. I've got some news." Grabbing his hand again, she gently placed it over her belly, her eyes softening as a hint of a blush lit her face. "Logan, you're going to be a father." Logan froze for a second, just staring at her stomach. "Is that so? That's wonderful news. Ivy, thank you." His lips curved into a seemingly warm smile, but his eyes only grew darker, colder. 2 days later, after being treated by the imperial physician, Sid Nine finally came to. But the blow to her head was too much. She'd lost all her memories. Now, she was more like a child, innocent and unaware of the world. Logan came to see her alone, but didn't dare step into the room. He just stood behind the door and spoke softly. "Sid Nine, maybe the only reason you're still alive is to watch me get what I deserve. I know it's too late to make things right, but I swear anyone who hurt Diana and our daughter will pay, including me." The next day after that promise, Logan held a funeral for me and our child. To bury us in the royal tomb, he had no choice but to go public with our identities. Logan, the adopted prince, had been secretly married for 6 years and even had a daughter. When the news broke, the court and the people went wild. Who would have thought Logan was such a liar? Abandoning wife and child like that? What a disgrace! Can we really trust someone with such terrible character to advise the emperor? They say his late wife was the eldest daughter of the Yaowang Valley. The entire clan was wiped out 6 years ago. Could it be that Logan did all that for her? Both the court and the streets were buzzing with gossip. The emperor scolded Logan right there in court, but he didn't care. He let the scorn and rumors fall over him like rain. Ivy, feeling hurt for him, tried to defend herself, fighting back at the accusations. She claimed she was the one Logan truly loved. Outnumbered in the argument, she came home in tears, clinging to her swollen belly, saying all the shouting had upset her so much she might have hurt the baby. She hoped Logan would comfort her, maybe even arrest some of the troublemakers. What she didn't expect was for Logan to slap her across the face, in front of everyone. Then he announced they were finished and kicked her out of the palace. It was pouring that day. Ivy ended up on the streets with nowhere to go. She ended up pawning her jewelry just to rent a rundown room in the western slums. After driving Ivy out, Logan resigned from office. Wearing mourning robes, he carried mine and our daughter's ashes, bowing every third step as he climbed all 999 steps to the tallest temple in the capital. There he knelt and set up a memorial tablet for us, offering incense with all the sincerity he had left. In the span of 6 months, he traveled to every temple he could find across the land, spending all his wealth to pray for my daughter and me, commissioning golden statues, begging the heavens for a peaceful afterlife for us. My daughter and I had been drifting beside him the whole time, watching him without feeling a thing, until 6 months later. Logan suddenly received a message. Ivy was 8 months pregnant. Without wasting a second, he rode through the night, rushing back to the capital. In a rundown courtyard deep in the slums, Logan pushed the door open without hesitation. "Logan Gege, you're finally here." Ivy, her body bloated from pregnancy, lit up the second she saw him, eyes gleaming with hope. She knew he wouldn't truly abandon her. No way their childhood bond would be erased just because of Diana's death. After all, Logan only got close to Diana in the first place to cure Ivy's illness. Overjoyed, Ivy threw herself into Logan's arms. He didn't dodge, but out of her sight, the corner of his mouth curved into a cold, cruel smile. His hand rested softly on Ivy's belly. He bent down, whispering into her ear, "Ivy, you know what? I've been waiting for this day for a long time." Waited for this day? Ivy blinked in confusion, only to meet his eyes, sharp, icy, murderous. Her body froze. "Logan Gege, what are you saying?" Logan slowly stroked her swollen belly, his voice as tender as if whispering to a lover. "Do you remember when Diana was cut open? She was 8 months along too." Ivy's eyes widened in horror. Panic rushed through her, and she turned to run. Logan grabbed her arm like it was nothing. His tone was even, almost gentle. "Running away? Don't want to give birth to my child after all?" Ivy was trembling, nearly in tears, lips quivering. "Of course I do, Logan Gege. I really do. I'm just scared. Why did you suddenly bring up Diana again? Please, don't scare me." Logan said nothing. Then his hands suddenly tightened around her neck. His voice turned icy, every word slicing into her like a knife. "Scared? You didn't seem scared when you sent people after Diana. Didn't think she'd be terrified too, did you? You've already done so much evil, and now you're afraid? Too late." Ivy's eyes flared open in terror. Panic flooded her face as the breath drained from her. She clung to Logan's hand like her life depended on it, voice trembling. "Logan Gege, I was wrong. I just wanted to get better. I wanted to stay with you. And besides, I'm carrying your child. You can't just—" "Your child?" Logan suddenly let go, his voice low. Diana was carrying my child too. Ivy's breath caught. Before she could feel relieved, panic flooded back in full force. She dropped to her knees, crawling forward as she knocked her head on the ground over and over, blood quickly staining the floor beneath her. "Please, forgive me. I didn't mean to hurt anyone." Logan yanked her up by the hair, eyes like sharp blades. "Was the massacre at Medicine Valley your doing?" Ivy's eyes widened in shock. Panic spread fast. She stammered, It was an accident. I didn't know those men asking for directions were bandits. I just told them the way. That's all." I needed my junior sister's blood for the medicine, yes, but I never meant for everyone to die." "Logan Gege, you have to believe me." "Didn't know? An accident?" I hovered there, powerless, fury boiling inside me. Ivy, she was the one who destroyed everything. My father, my brother, all 68 souls from Medicine Valley, gone because of her. I wanted to tear her apart with my bare hands, but I couldn't do a thing. That helplessness, it crushed me. And deep down, I hated myself too. All of it, every bit of it, started because of me. Logan kept a tight grip on her hair, voice cold and steady. "At the ruins of Medicine Valley, I found a kind of goo worm. It only responds to the bloodline of the valley. And now, through my daughter's blood, that worm got into your medicine. For the past 8 months, you've been taking it over and over." Ivy's face drained of color. Fear finally hit her. Logan went on, unmoved. "The goo worm nested in your child's heart. It ties you two together. You feel everything he feels. Every bit of pain. And that pain, it'll tear you apart, 1,000 times worse than your heart illness. It'll make you want to rip your belly open, just like you had them do to Diana." "No, please stop. Just stop talking." Ivy clutched her head, her fingers pressing hard against her ears as she shrieked in agony. Logan threw her a cold, disgusted glance before turning away and walking off without another word. Before he left, he ordered guards to lock down the courtyard, making sure she couldn't slip away. 7 days later, the pain in Ivy's chest grew unbearable. It tore through her like fire, making her lose all sense. She couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, just writhed on the ground, smashing her head against the walls, desperate to rip her heart out to make it stop. A month went by. Just as Logan had said, Ivy couldn't take it anymore. She shattered a porcelain bowl and used a shard to cut herself open. Blood soaked the floor as she dragged her own baby out of her belly and slammed it against the wall, ending its life. This was the child she had once dreamed of, the child who was meant to carry on her and Logan's bloodline. And now, she'd killed it with her own hands. When the news reached Logan, his face remained expressionless. He sat alone in the room for hours, motionless. Then, without a word, he went to Sydney Nye's yard, sat on the steps outside her door, and began to talk. He told her everything. "I regret it, Sydney Nye. I liked Diana. I loved her." He bent over in pain, tears falling silently down his face. My daughter and I stood just a few steps away, quietly watching him cry. It was almost laughable. He claimed he loved me? What a cruel joke. If that was love, then why did he drain my blood over and over? Why did he take my daughters too? His love had cost us our lives. That kind of love was just too much to bear. But at this point, I couldn't even bring myself to hate him anymore. Hatred takes emotion, and I had none left for him. Everything was already over. I took my daughter back to Yawang Valley. Together, we paid respects to my father and brother. 2 weeks later, Sydney Nye passed away, afraid she wouldn't be able to find us. I brought my girl back to the village at the foot of the mountain. The courtyard where we once lived was now buried in weeds. As I thought, Sydney Nye came. She looked at us, said nothing, just cried. One more time. That was enough. In the overgrown courtyard, we looked at each other. Then slowly, our bodies began to fade, drifting away in the wind. And Logan? He would live with his guilt and regret, for the rest of his life, never finding peace.